only way she's going to get her way, like many liberal Democrats, is to force you and I to capitulate and bend to their will via new laws, new rules, and new regulations, that if you break any of those, you will be fined and or you will go to jail. That's how they're saying, well, see, we're changing hearts and minds by sending them to jail if they don't believe what we believe. That's not how you change hearts, because, you know, the old saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So if Hillary can't change people's, in fact, she's losing people. She's losing support. And I think she would naturally lose support anyway, even if this email thing wasn't blowing up in her face. I think people are realizing, again, look, this is the reason why they jumped ship in 2008 and went to Barack, because Barack at least sounded like he cared. Barack at least sounded like he had a heart. Barack at least sounded like he wanted to change the hearts and minds of people. And and the Democrats saw that, and they said, hey, this guy seems more genuine, more likable, more honest. Whether or not that was actually true is irrelevant. They saw him as being more open, more personable, more caring, and more honest. So they left Hillary and went to Barack. So again, it doesn't have a lot to do. Well, the email thing has a lot to do with it. But it would have happened anyway, because it happened back in 2008, because Hillary Clinton has not changed from who she is in 2008 to 2015. She's still the same selfish, uncaring bitch that she was back then, that everybody started to see. And they wanted to move to somebody who wasn't like that, whether it be a guy or a girl. They didn't care. They just happened to get lucky and latch on to the first African-American who was clean and articulate, according to Biden. So they were still going to make history. They said, you know what? This guy just sounds better. He seems like he's better. He seems more honest. He seems more caring. And, we find out, 6-7 years later that really isn't the case. But at least he came across that way, where she never did, and she still isn't. I mean, she's doubling down about not caring. I mean, 4 people lost their lives in Benghazi, and what does she do on Capitol Hill? What difference does it make at this point? Are you kidding me? And then she wants to keep all her email. Well, you don't need to see my personal emails. Well, yeah, we do, because you were the Secretary of State at the time. And she didn't care. Well, now, maybe she was hiding them in order to protect her own, CYA, cover her own ass. But other than that, she knew she was doing something wrong to begin with, and she didn't care. She was going to do it anyway. Because, hey, it's what Hillary does. She does what she wants. So for that reason, I'm sounding like Mark Cuban right now. For that reason, a lot of people are getting out of the Hillary Clinton funhouse, because it ain't so fun. It's not so much fun in the Hillary funhouse. They're getting off the Hillary train because it's losing steam. And believe it or not, they're doing the same thing that they did back in 2008. They're finding somebody else. But in this case, the somebody else isn't a black guy. It's an old white guy by the name of Bernie Sanders. And frankly, that is a little bit scary. And I've said this already before. It's kind of scary because Bernie Sanders is an unabashed, unapologetic socialist, bordering on being a communist. And he's not ashamed to say it. And everything that he's proposing is very socialistic, bordering on communistic. And all these people that go to these events of his, 20, 25, 28,000 people, and they're saying, yay, Bernie, that's what we want. And people seem to be flocking towards Bernie. So Hillary's trying to sound like Bernie Sanders light, but because she's not genuine and not likable and not believable, they're not believing her. So they're abandoning, I've always said, you cannot out-liberal a liberal. And therefore, if that is true, then it is also true that you cannot out-socialist a socialist. So you can't run around being, a rhino and think that you're going to be able to, outdo a liberal. You're not going to be able to. And by the same token, a Democratic liberal who isn't really a socialist isn't going to be able to take on a socialist and sound like a socialist and be a socialist if they're not really a socialist. People are going to go for the genuine article every time. If they want a liberal, they're not going to, and they have a choice. Well, okay, let me see. Let me get the liberal light that's a rhino, or let me get the true Democrat liberal. Oh, I'm going to go for the true Democrat liberal every single time. And the rhinos don't seem to understand that. And this is something that Hillary Clinton doesn't seem to understand at this particular moment either. I probably shouldn't say anything because some of her operatives are probably listening and saying, and they'll run back to her and say, Hill, we got the answer, man. You got to stop trying to be like Bernie and just be more yourself. And you got to be more open and more honest, more caring. You at least got to try to pretend to be more like Barack, okay? She does that, you know where she got it from. Just so you know. If she changes course and she tries to sound more like Barack Obama, or tries to be more genuine in her approach and in her delivery, you know where she got it from. Just saying. She got it from me. I know some people are probably saying, well, Rod, why the heck do you just stay on Hillary so hard sometimes? Because I don't want that woman to get anywhere near the White House as president. I mean, that would be a disaster for our country. If you think that Barack Obama was bad, and he is, and he was, and he will continue to be, his last year and a half in office, imagine 4 years of Hillary. Nah, I take that back. Imagine 4 years of Billary. I mean, usually you could say, well, the first lady maybe won't be so bad. But come on now. And as many people that don't like Michelle Obama, for good reason, do you think she's as bad or worse than Bill Clinton? Well, hell no. I don't think she is. And you know what? I got to address, this just came to my mind. And I got to tell you, I got to address something here. And this is directed towards my conservative brothers and sisters. And I have done this before. I have chastised conservatives before about how they talk about the First Lady. And the kids. But especially the kids are off limits. Leave them the hell alone. They have nothing to do with their parents. You leave the. I bristle every time I read something. I don't care if it's from the left or the right that is negative about the Obama children. You leave the kids the hell alone. I don't care who they are, what side of the political aisle. Well, Rod, look what they did to Barb and Jenna. Bush's twin. I don't care. You leave the kids alone. They're not the ones who wanted to be in the public eye. It was their parents. They had nothing to do with it. You leave the kids alone. Now, addressing the First Lady, I got to tell you, I'm a little sick and tired of hearing people calling Michelle Obama an ape or a gorilla or lurch. That's really racist, frankly. And I don't know many black conservatives that would go along with you on that. Just so you know. I mean, it's uncouth, it's rude, it's racist, it's bigoted, and it's uncalled for. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are saying Michelle Obama is actually a tranny, she's a man, and they try to show these pictures of her, with a man part down there. You know what? Knock it off. There is no credible evidence that Michelle Obama is Michael Obama, okay? And frankly, big freaking hairy deal if she is a he. It doesn't really matter. Now, I mean, if you want to take Obama and her on their policy, that's fine. But to use some sort of racist comment against the First Lady is unacceptable from anybody. And I, for one, will call you out every single time. That is unacceptable, and I will not tolerate it. If I see it, no, I'm not, on Facebook, I'm not going to go and report it to the Facebook police because that's just, no, that's wrong. But I'm going to say something directly to you about it. I'm going to message you, or I'm going to put it out there in the open for everybody to see. How would you like it? And what I say in return is probably not going to be very pretty. But Rod, does that mean that you're supporting it? No, it has nothing to do with me supporting their political positions or policies. I happen to disagree with 99.9% of Michelle Obama's agenda. But I am not going to call her a monkey or an ape or, a black lurch, or that she's a he, and try to doctor and Photoshop some pictures to make everybody think, oh, yeah, maybe she is a he. No, absolutely not. Because that is uncalled for. And frankly, it's racist. Because you're calling her out because simply she's black. And frankly, I don't care what color she is. She doesn't look like an ape. And Michelle Obama really is not ugly. If you want to go by looks wise, well, Hillary Clinton is no beauty. Not even in her younger days. But Michelle Obama is not an ugly woman. By far, she is not. I mean, I could tell you some ugly women on the Democratic side. I mean, come on. Schultz. How about Madeleine Albright? Somebody want to tell me that was a pretty woman? Sorry, no. I mean, and she obviously, well, she was first Secretary of State too, but obviously you weren't calling her all these kind of racist names. Conservatives were not. And Madeleine Albright is far uglier than Michelle Obama. But yet we've got this, and nobody ever said that Madeleine Albright was a guy. And quite, have you ever seen some of the pictures of Madeleine Albright? That is not a pretty woman. That's the truth. But her looks have nothing to do with her ability or lack thereof. But if you're going to go on physical features, why aren't you white conservatives saying the same cruel, despicable, even racist, bigoted types of things about Madeleine Albright as you are saying about Michelle Obama? And I got to tell you, you're giving fuel to the fire on the left that Republicans are racist. And I got to tell you, sometimes I'm thinking that some of you, I hate to say it, but for some of you out there who pull this kind of crap, they're right. Now, hey, look, they're hypocrites because they're the biggest racists on the planet right now, or at least in this country, is on the left. But they've got a point when you start spouting off that kind of crap on Michelle Obama. And to a certain extent, when you start bringing race into Barack, those are racist statements because you don't bring those types of race types of things in on Bill Clinton or Jimmy Carter or anybody else. So I'm telling you that if I see it, I'm going to react. It's not going to be nice, and I'm sure some of you are probably going to unfriend me, but I don't give a damn. I'm telling you now. Because that stuff has got to stop. And then don't tell me, well, I'm not racist, Rod. Well, yeah, you are. You better check yourself. Because nobody's running around saying that, oh, Hillary Clinton, that cracker. That ugly cracker. No, we're not. And we're not calling her an ape or a gibbon or, a dog or, really some chihuahua or something like that. I don't. Yeah, just there's too much to attack legitimately. Stay away from the race baiting kind of crap. Just telling you, it's going to burn you in the end.